Migraine is an intense, four-stage headache that is accompanied by throbbing pain and typically symptoms that affect the nervous system. As most people suffering from migraines would say, the prodrome period usually goes into effect before the migraine headache begins, typically by a few days. Many warning signs that accompany this stage are constipation, depression, food cravings, hyperactivity, irritability, stiffness of the neck, and constant yawning. If these symptoms occur, it is a safe bet that a migraine is following closely behind.
In terms of symptoms, before I get a headache, it usually is brought on by stress, excessive stress, or just kind of a difficult period, emotionally, I would say, and or physically. I typically, a few days, like a day or two before I start feeling some of the symptoms of a headache, I have gone through some sort of a period in that regard.
The next stage of a migraine is the aura. This stage is correlated with the nervous system and may accompany the prodrome before the migraine sets in or during the migraine. This stage is associated with the nervous system because it causes problems with eyesight, the sensory senses, motor skills, and also verbal senses. Lastly, while not as common as the other issues, the aura stage can be accompanied by weakness.
The aura is, my vision, there's some vision changes, there's some lightheadedness. Oftentimes, again, I wake up with the migraines, so the aura is something I don't experience as frequently. But I do get a lot of vision, sensitivity to light, those things prior to me getting the actual migraine.
When the aura starts for me, I tend to get it in one eye, and it's usually in the same eye. It's my left eye, and I can just feel like this twinge of pain, and it's a twinge. It's also sometimes a dull ache, and this would happen before the full-blown migraine comes on.
The attack is the third stage of the migraine and is what most people think of when thinking of a migraine because it's the intense, painful stage of the headache that lasts anywhere from hours to days. Many of the symptoms experienced during this stage have already been mentioned, such as throbbing on one side of the brain, although both sides can be present, nausea, vomiting, light sensitivity, and also weakness and fainting.
The actual headache is the acute pain. For me, it's always on one side, mostly in the temple area. I get the nauseousness. I get the sensitivity to light and sound. Even the smallest sound of a fly in the room, causes incredible pain in my head more so. So it's the head pain, the nauseousness, the sensitivity to light and sound are the strongest symptoms I see for the onset of the actual headache.
The last phase of a migraine is called the prodrome phase and is not accompanied by any of those symptoms. At most, the person that previously suffered the migraine was very tired during the phase, and sometimes people even have the sensation of relief or euphoria.
The incredible fatigue. I just get very, very tired, feel the need to sleep, don't have a lot of energy. It really does. The intensity of the migraine really takes a lot of energy. I have a decreased appetite for a bit afterwards. Some sort of, mood changes, depression somewhat, just because it does take so much out of me when I get one of my migraines. I've had migraines. The hormonal migraines have been most of my adult life. I would say the stress-related migraines have occurred more so in the last 10 years. And the caffeine ones also have been more so in the last 10 years. But yeah, for pretty close to 25 years, I've had some degree of migraines.
I definitely have noticed that red wine is a trigger for me. Even if I have just a half of a glass of wine or a few sips of wine, red wine, excuse me, I will notice that I can, the next day, I will feel some of the aura symptoms. But red wine is the only thing that is a trigger for me in terms of drink or food. However, if I'm already in that stage where I could feel some of the symptoms coming on, and I eat or drink some of the, certain things, like, for example, warm baked goods are not good for me. Even like a bagel or a croissant, I can definitely, it'll make the headache come on stronger or heavier. Things like ketchup, things like bananas, those types of things I've noticed definitely will make a headache worse for me.
Cures do not exist as of right now for migraines. However, many treatments exist to help alleviate the symptoms and frequency of them. Many pain-relieving medications can accomplish dealing with the pain-related symptoms as long as they are taken ahead of the main attack. Other medications may reduce the frequency of migraines and may be taken daily or just during the periods that are accompanied by typical triggers as prescribed by a doctor. Affect your life.
Well, migraines do affect my life in a lot of ways, but I, again, try to have perspective on how they impact my life, and I really try to focus on treating it the minute I can feel the aura coming on, because I know it's so much more difficult to get rid of a full-blown migraine than it is even during the aura stages. So it does stress me out. It has affected my life. It has impacted my life. But when I was younger, in my 20s, it impacted my life much more substantially than it does now, because I think I've just learned how to deal with it over the years. In the past, I would have done things like not gone to an event or opted out because I just wasn't feeling well. Now I try to not have it impact me as much and not let it get me, not control me as much as I can try to control it.
Migraines are a condition that affect the young and the old. They come in 4 stages and bring with them many pain-related symptoms. However, with lifestyle accommodations and proper medications, they can be suppressed and even avoided, making them not as invincible as once seemed.